Well, it's been an interesting day here in the garage. Last night, the wife and I took the vet out to dinner. We went to a town about 50 miles away. On the way home, pulled off the interstate, came to a stop on the road that takes us back home. We had about 20 miles left to go, and the vet just dies. It had been running perfectly all evening. So I fired it back up, and it's missing and making all kinds of racket. And I get the check engine light comes on, so I check in. It's code P0068, which says there's normally some kind of miscommunication between the amount of air coming in the engine and the throttle position. So I'm thinking we've got a sensor went bad, and it's cold and it's starting to rain, and I did get it to run, so I went ahead and drove the last 20 miles home. So this morning I come out in the garage and start working on it. Hook the laptop up, check everything. Everything checks out good as far as sensors. So I still didn't sound real good when it was running or trying to run. So I started pulling spark plugs, and the passenger side bank was all wet, like something was messed up over there. And then I started doing a compression check. Not actually measuring it, but just sticking my finger in the spark plug hole and seeing if we got compression. And hit the second one back on the passenger side, and no compression whatsoever. So let's show you what I found. Check it out. Good old busted valve spring. Fortunately, don't think if it was touching the piston, it was just barely, because I pushed it down as far as it would go with the broke spring and cranked it over, and it wasn't really touching it. And I pulled the valve up, and well, it doesn't appear to be bent. Got full compression. So I think what I'm going to do is pop another set of springs on it, even though I plan to rebuild the whole engine this winter because it's got 200,000 miles on it. I'm going to go ahead and pop a set of springs in it and see if it still runs good. Now, I know if you're familiar with the vets, the broken valve spring is not that unusual, but it's normally the factory, like I think it was the yellow springs that were so bad. But these are Trick Flow aftermarket springs. And 4 years ago, I put in an aftermarket cam. It has about 600 lift. And I put the Trick Flow valve springs in, single beehive springs that were good to like 610 lift. So they were well within their operating range. So I wasn't expecting to have a broken valve spring. But apparently, and I'm not real familiar, done a lot of tuner car stuff that doesn't have as much lift as this, 4 valves per cylinder, motorcycles and all, don't really have to change the valve springs that often. In the 4 years since I put this cam in, I put 57,000 miles on the car. And that is apparently way more than what a set of race springs should go. Like 20 to 30,000 is what a lot of people, just looking on the internet was saying to change them. And so it's like, well, I got my money's worth. Should have changed them a little sooner, apparently. I mean, I beat on the car quite a bit. And the fact that the spring is still open into 600 lift, whether I'm cruising down the interstate or beating on it on a back road, it's still getting the full lift, and it is a aggressive raise and lower of the valve. So yeah, she shattered. I'm going to put some new ones in. Can't blame the valve springs at all, because as I said, I probably should have changed them sooner, and I will know next time. I'm figuring 30,000 miles, I'll put a new set of springs in. So keep that in mind. If you drive your vet a lot, you may need to change your springs. And I do have another set of springs coming from Summit. They should be here. This is Sunday. They should be here probably Thursday. And I also got a new tool to compress the valve springs. I've always used, I think it was a Comp Cams tool that depressed 2 valves at once, and that worked fine. But sometimes it was kind of hard to get all 4 keepers in the 2 valves and everything. So I got one that just bolts in, and you lever it over with a wrench, do 1 valve at a time. So I'll be kind of reviewing that tool when I start taking it apart. Now I will video completely disassembling the driver's side since I don't have it apart yet. But we'll be putting new springs in it, get her back on the road, and see how it goes. Until next time, thanks for watching.